Jacob Miller was the kind of guy who kept to himself. 32 years old with a solid career in tech, a clean apartment in San Diego, and a quiet circle of friends. He lived a simple, predictable life. But everything began to shift the day he met Emily Carson. Emily was confident, radiant, and full of subtle complexities that Jacob could never quite read. They met through mutual friends at a weekend barbecue, and Jacob was instantly drawn to her laughter, her wit, and the way she held eye contact like she could see through your thoughts. She wasn't loud, but she didn't have to be. Her presence alone pulled people in. After a few weeks of talking and seeing each other more in group settings, Jacob decided to ask her out. They went to a small Italian restaurant, and the conversation flowed with surprising ease. They talked about everything, from childhood to future dreams, and Emily shared stories about her travels and passions for social work. As their dates continued over the next 2 months, Jacob found himself completely captivated. Yet, despite how open Emily seemed, there were moments when she asked questions that puzzled him. Do you think people always say what they mean? Why do men avoid serious conversations? Would you be the type to fight for someone? Each time, the questions came casually, as if part of a bigger conversation, but they lingered in Jacob's mind long after the night was over. One evening, after watching a movie at her place, Emily leaned her head on Jacob's shoulder and softly asked, "What are you looking for in all this?" Jacob hesitated. "You mean, in us?" Emily nodded but didn't press further. She simply said, "Just wondering," and changed the subject. But she wasn't just wondering. Jacob would later understand that when a woman asks something like that, it's not out of curiosity. It's a test. A soft, psychological nudge to see if you're aware, intentional, emotionally available. In that moment, Emily wasn't just asking what he was looking for. She was asking if he saw her. Jacob gave her a vague answer that night. Something about taking things slow and enjoying the moment. He thought it was safe. Thought it showed maturity. But in truth, it told her he wasn't sure. A few days passed before Emily's messages became a little shorter. Her availability a little scarcer. Jacob sensed the shift. So he invited her to lunch, hoping to clear the air. They met at a beachside cafe, and Emily looked as stunning as ever. Hair tied back, sun-kissed skin, denim jacket over a light summer dress. But her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Hey," she said, sitting across from him. "Hey," Jacob replied, unsure of what to say next. They ordered, chatted lightly, but the air between them felt different. Eventually, Jacob leaned in and said, "I feel like something's changed. Did I do something?" Emily looked at him carefully. "You didn't do anything wrong. But sometimes silence says more than words." Jacob furrowed his brows. "That night," she continued, "when I asked you what you were looking for, I wasn't trying to trap you. I just wanted to know if we were on the same page. If this mattered to you the way it was starting to matter to me." Jacob felt his stomach twist. "It does matter. I wasn't sure how to say it." Emily smiled, but it was bittersweet. "That's the thing, Jacob. Women are constantly reading between the lines. Not because we want to overthink, but because we've had to. When I asked that, I was waiting, not for words but for clarity." That day marked a turning point for Jacob. He realized how much he had misunderstood the emotional language women speak. A language full of cues, intuition, indirect questions that seek direct truth. Female psychology wasn't manipulative or mysterious. It was strategic, built on years of navigating a world where vulnerability could be both a strength and a risk. Jacob spent the next few weeks reflecting, not just on Emily but on his own emotional habits. How often he dodged deeper conversations, masked feelings with sarcasm, or assumed that just going with the flow was enough. He started reading about emotional intelligence, speaking more honestly with friends, and asking himself hard questions. Then, he did something unexpected. He wrote Emily a letter. In it, he said everything he couldn't say that night. That he wasn't scared of commitment but scared of being inadequate. That he had never met someone like her. Someone who challenged him to be better, not by demanding it, but by expecting it naturally. He apologized for making her feel unsure. And he said he wanted to start over, this time with full transparency. Emily didn't respond for 4 days. Jacob checked his phone more times than he cared to admit. He even considered sending another message, but stopped himself. On the 5th day he got a call. "I read your letter," Emily said softly. "And I believe you." They met that evening, walking along the harbor as the sun dipped low over the water. There were no dramatic declarations, no fireworks. Just the quiet, steady return of connection. They held hands, and Jacob knew that from that point forward, he would listen, not just to her words, but to the unspoken meanings behind them. Over the next few months, their relationship deepened. Emily, true to her nature, continued to ask questions. "Do you think people grow together or grow apart? Would you rather be right or be kind? What scares you the most about love?" But now Jacob didn't dodge them. He answered honestly and vulnerably, and he asked his own. They laughed more, cried sometimes, fought occasionally, but always came back to the table, always talked it out. Jacob began to understand that when a woman asks those kinds of questions, she's not trying to pry or control. She's offering an opportunity, a doorway to intimacy. And if you walk through it, if you meet her there, something truly beautiful can be built. 2 years later, standing in front of their friends and family at a small coastal wedding, Jacob recounted that first confusing question she asked. When she said, "What are you looking for in all this?" "I had no idea that was the moment she was handing me the keys to her heart. I almost missed it. But thank God I didn't." Emily smiled through tears, and the crowd laughed and applauded. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was honest. And that made all the difference. Jacob would often tell his younger friends now, "If a woman asks you something that sounds simple but feels loaded, don't panic. Don't brush it off. It means she's waiting. Waiting to see if you'll meet her halfway. Waiting to know if she can trust you with her truth. Don't make her wait too long. Because in the end, female psychology isn't a game to win, it's a trust to earn. And when she asks this, whatever this is, it's your chance to show her you're listening. And maybe that you're ready."